Hello and welcome to the Go Fab CNC Plasma Table Assembly video. Assembly requires two people to help with aligning the parts. Hardware consists of 3/8" bolts in three different sizes, 3-inch, 5-inch, and 4.5-inch. Your table has 7 main components to it. The legs, which are all identical and interchangeable, unless you have a 4x4 in which one of the legs will be different. The rails with a left rail and a right rail. The side supports, which are also identical and interchangeable. The bed with a main half and a sub half. The bed slats. The pre-wired robot. And the control box. First, make sure the bolt on the adjustable feet is fully screwed down on the legs. Then start spacing the legs about 2 feet apart where you want the table to be. Flip over the leg that would be at the front of the table so that the feet are facing down. Have the other person grab either one of the side supports to place on the left side of the leg and make sure that the groove is pointed up. When you slide the side support over, push down to ensure that it makes contact with the leg alignment tube. Use a 5-inch bolt with washers on either side and a nut to secure it. Now flip over the leg at the rear of the table and attach the side support the same way. For the center legs, it's easiest to approach at an angle to get that alignment tube underneath the side support. Now we're going to grab the left rail. The part that we're looking at right now is the part of the rail that faces the outside of the table. The geared racks point to the bottom. You can tell the left rail because the home stop at the back is also going to be pointing down. Make sure that the bolt holes and the alignment tabs on the back side of the rail match up with the bolt holes and the alignment tabs on the legs. When the rail is properly mounted, the back side of the rail will extend about 1.5 feet beyond the back of the table. Use the 4.5-inch bolts for securing the rail to the legs. Now grab the right rail and attach it on the right side, and then do the same thing with the lower side support. For the bed, we're going to start with the main half, which is identifiable with this extra support tube. Place the main half of the bed on the table so the lip is resting on the T-bars from the legs. Now place the sub half of the bed on the table, making sure that it rests on that center support tube of the main half. Use the 5-inch bolts with a washer on either side and a nut to secure them together. Now undo the bundles for the slats and start by placing one side in first, bend the slat to the middle, and then bend it back the other way for the other side. The slats naturally sit with a curve in order to prevent rattling. Use 2 people to carry the robot with one on either side and approach the table from the front. Make sure that the torch is also facing the front of the table. Start by placing the rear bearing on the guide of the rail and tilt the robot slightly forward so that the pinion of the motor goes underneath the rail. Then continue sliding the robot back until the front bearing makes contact with the front of the rail, and then tilt it up and over the safety stops and push down on the motor to allow it to pop down on the rail. Unwrap the wire harness from the left side of the robot and make sure that the curve is going to the front of the table. Place the wires inside of the groove of the side support and slide the end of the plastic drag chain to the midpoint of the table. On the right side of the table, unwrap the torch hose. Do the same thing, but this time make sure that the curve is going to the back of the table and slide the end of the plastic drag chain to the midpoint. Alright, now we'll mount the control box. If the mounting brackets are not already on the control box, then start by securing them. The bolts are already on the control box and all you need are the washers and nuts. Place the 3-inch bolts through the rear of the left rail. Approach the rail from the back so that the mounting brackets can hang on the extended bolts. Use a washer on both sides and a nut to secure it. Now connect the control box wires to the wire harness of the robot by matching the colors of the zip ties. Place the wires and the connectors inside the groove of the side support. Tuck the wires behind the control box and use the zip tie to secure the end of the plastic drag chain to the side support. Do the same thing for the drag chain with the torch hose on the other side of the table. Place the power edge plasma cutter on the right side of the table. It's a good idea to keep it off the floor with either a cart or a stand so that it doesn't breathe in the smoke from the cutting process. Attach the torch lead connector to the power edge. Place the remote amperage control box on the table in a convenient location or mount it to the wall. Then connect it to the front of the power edge. Attach the ground clamp connector to the front of the power edge and attach the ground clamp itself to the front tube on the side support. Grab the gray CNC cable coming out of the control box and run it over to the power edge. Make sure you go around the back of the table with enough space that no sparks or debris are going to damage it. Attach it to the rear of the power edge. Assemble the included air regulator by placing the quick fit connector on the inlet and the push fit connector on the outlet. Attach the air hose to the air inlet on the back of the power edge and use the hose clamp to secure it. Press the other end of the air hose into the press fitting of the air regulator. Then attach the mounting bracket. Slide the air regulator in from the bottom and use the plastic nut to secure it from the top. And that's it. Set your air pressure at 85, plug everything in, connect with your tablet, and you're ready to cut.